Question number 3. In times of economic downturn, how would you as the official determine wants versus needs?
Every city is just like a business or anything else. You have a budget that you have to work from. The budget is a proposed spending schedule of things that, as the money is available, you use it. If the money's not there, you don't use it. You go back to that budget, and items that are necessities come first. Items that are luxuries per se, or things that are not needed at that particular time, you don't spend it. So you have line item adjustments that you can make in the budget for these things. And as your tax rate, or as your tax money comes in and it's made available, after all the necessities, utilities, things that have to be paid, then you can go backwards and work on that. You've got things like your water, sewer, streets and things like that that have priority over building maintenance, building repairs, new buildings, new police cars, new things like that. They have to fall in line with that budget, and they have to be pared from that budget or delayed as the funds become available.
I think this is a real simple problem. All of us that pay our bills at home, which by the way my wife pays ours, you prioritize where your money goes. First thing you do is you pay your mortgage. Then you pay your electric, you pay the water. You get the have-tos, okay? What's critical? What's critical that we have our police department and our officers are paid for? It's critical that we pay the fire department. It's critical that we pay our electric bill. It's critical that we get the sewer taken care of. It's critical that we have water taken care of. Our city employees need to be paid. Okay, that's critical. That comes out of the budget first. Okay? Now if you want to put a pavilion top on out in the park, well, you know what? That's not critical. Maybe that doesn't need to be done this year or next year. You prioritize. We all do it every month when we pay our bills. I've never run a city before, but it seems pretty simple to me. Maybe I'm too simple-minded. You take that which is a necessity. That's where you spend your money. Now, if it turns out that this economic downturn Mr. Smith refers to goes from year to year to year, okay, then we're going to have to start making some tough choices. We might have to make some of the departments smaller. We might have to close some of the buildings. We might have to make some very serious cuts, which all of us do when we have, if you're out of work for a year or two, you start making cuts. You get the cuts go deep, but that's what you have to do. So I think that's what we're looking at with this question. How do we decide the needs versus the wants? I need to keep the lights on. I want to put a pavilion on the foundation of the park. Thank you.
Our needs, and just like the city, if we run into an economic downturn, we have to work together and possibly come up with a formula where we can turn that to our advantage, where we can start looking at, okay, if we add more rooftops, we get some more families in here, that kind of increases our tax base. If we can get a new business in here, whatever the business might be, that may help us build our tax base. But when we find that type of problem, then we need to work on it, and we need to try to find our way out of it. Another way to do that is, as we're going through with our current tax base, we take some of that money and set it aside and build a savings account so that we have 6, 8, 10 months worth of money that we can work off of, so that we can solve some of these problems and work to get more revenue coming in. Yes, we have to pay all of our necessities. We need to plan ahead for those necessities too, so that we can keep going. Thank you.
How do we handle economic downturn? Well, we did that in January. I told the department heads in anticipation if the rollback passed, which it did, I had asked the department heads to cut their budget 3%. I said, I don't care where you cut it, I want 3%. And they all found what was a want and what was a need. So I think if you give them guidance and say, meet this number, you pick as a department head, you know what you need, you know what you want, and pare it down, we can do that because we did.
Question number 4.
Do I get to answer?
Oh, there you go.
she is outspoken. You know what, I'm a realist about budgeting, and I think you can set a budget, you can do your best to stick with it, but you know what, sometimes you may budget a certain amount of money for something, and lo and behold, you find you've got something left over. That doesn't mean that you need to go spend it. That means you set that aside for those rainy day funds. For a lot of us, the last 8 years, we've kind of been in a recession that never really ended for many, many people. So the city should be no different. I found some of the extravagances were, you know, beyond just paying the rent and the utilities. And I agree with Mr. Eason in that establish the priorities. You know, we don't need a new pair of shoes. We don't need a new something over here when the old one is okay. It's not obsolete. It's perfectly operational. I have to mention I have an old-timey phone. It's a cell phone, but it's an old-timey phone. It's happy to be a phone. It doesn't do computer. It doesn't do anything. It costs me $50 a month. You know, and I think the city can operate under the same type of principle, like a household budget. Putting a little, saving a little bit away for a rainy day. You don't, just because it's in the budget doesn't mean you have to spend it to the max and run into a deficit and run the taxpayer credit card up. I'm very fiscally, I'm tight. I won't say I'm fiscally responsible. I am tight-fisted. Thank you.